refreshing Pick 6 six-pack just for calling. Pick 6 from Express-Tel. It's a great way to buy long distance, too.
Please call 829-0909. KOH Reno.
Okay, it's 20 minutes before 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. It's Nevada Day. This is Lou Gutenberger, and we have a surprise guest, Bruce Van Dyke, who is back from the Denver area after killing them in Denver. Is that what you did there?
Sort of, for a while.
Yeah, was it 50-50?
There were times we killed them, and times we rolled over with our feet in the air. Lou.
Okay, let's go to the phones again. Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, is Bruce still there?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Bruce. This is Brian Swift.
How you doing?
Good. Hey, welcome back to town, man.
Man, great to hear from you, Brian. I'm glad you're still around.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear. I don't usually listen to this talk radio, but I'm off work today.
But today was your lucky day.
Hey, I'm glad I heard it.
I thought you were going to say only when Lou is on.
Well, I do listen to you sometimes, Lou. I find myself changing channels a lot. And I would really like to find a rock station that I can listen to for more than an hour.
Well, see, that's what I'm trying to do here, because a lot of us have, I think a lot of us have just become fairly bored with the fare that has been over the airwaves, the rock airwaves, for the last decade. And I am here to try to do something, if nothing else, be interesting and be musically adventurous, and try to keep a guy like you tuned in for a little while, Brian.
How about a James Brown hour?
You know, I'm thinking of starting off tomorrow with a James Brown song, just to sort of get my attitude right out in the open.
Break the ice.
You know?
Maybe Hot Pants.
Or get on the good foot.
Yeah.
Or Sex Machine.
You know, I think that's something, I don't know, a bit of advice from a listener, I guess. That,
Sure.
Better production quality on commercials, on locally produced commercials, would make it a lot easier for me to listen to commercial radio.
I bet you're not surprised to hear that you're not the first to say that. What I can do, unfortunately, many times there's not much control that you can have over it, because a lot of professional ad agencies send their spots into radio stations, and we can't redo them. You know, they have to run as is, and a lot of times you lose your direct quality control, so to speak, if you just get something silly that comes in from Chicago or Los Angeles. Certainly you can't go to your general manager and say, tear up that check, because I'm not going to run this stupid spot. You know, we get between a rock and a hard place there, but I will tell you this, Brian, that we'll try to keep the sound as non-lame and as inoffensive as possible.
Okay, we're going to move along. Thanks for the call, Brian. Is that going to be the liner there, Bruce? Non-lame programming?
101.7, non-lame radio for the trucking man. I mean, it expresses part of my attitude.
Right. Hi, good afternoon. You're on KOH.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Okay.
Very good.
I was just driving home in the car after dropping my wife off from work, and I tuned in. I usually listen to KOA, and I switch back and forth, and I was listening to the both of you guys. And, excuse me, up until just a couple of weeks ago, I was an employee of a local radio station here, and then they've since changed their format. But
there's a lot of that going around.
Boy, there really is. It's getting tough for the listener to keep up with all the changes going on.
Well, you know, it's interesting because a lot of the things you guys were speaking of were a lot of the issues that were brought up in a station meeting that we had with I quote, a consultant, some of my favorite people, who was brought in to program the radio station.
So you're talking about, it sounds like you would be on the side of those who want to see music on the radio broaden a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it also, of course, from my point of view, because I'm a disc jockey, I'm looking at it from a personality point of view. And a lot of the times over the years, I've heard consultants and people in radio say that the trend is going away from personality radio.
Yeah.
And I really don't think that's true. I really don't think a group of people want to sit and listen to 4 or 5 songs in a row and then hear a jock read a liner card.
Yeah, and for those who aren't familiar with that, a liner card is just, you know, you've got disc jockeys who aren't exactly talking. They're reading something, something about a station function that's coming up.
I don't know whether the trend is against it or not. We were just talking about this morning, that there aren't that many people who really know how to be a personality.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it has to do with the market, the size of the market, the quality of the talent that you're going to get in a market this size. I mean, to be frank, usually if someone is very, very good, and I'm sure you guys know this, they're not going to be here very long.
Right.
They're going to go somewhere to a larger market where the money is better and that sort of thing.
That's right. I've been here almost 20 years. Oh, I'm sorry.
But the other thing I wanted to touch on, too, also, that I noticed that as I look around, I pick up radio and records, and I look at the radio stations around the country, and I hear these people call in and say, well, they'd like a little bit more on the radio. They would like this kind of music, that kind of music. But ironically enough, if you look around the country, the major market radio stations, in the majority of cities across America, the top-rated station in each market usually is an FM/CHR.
Right.
You know, so these, and well, in San Francisco, it's an AM talk station. It's been that way for a long time. But what I've noticed is that usually across America, the top station in each market is an FM/CHR.
Right.
And obviously, that's what the majority of the people want to hear.
Exactly. The majority of the people do want to hear the hits, and that's why you have a pretty safe mindset as far as general managers and radio stations across the country. They play it safe because they've been rewarded financially by being conservative and by being safe. However, there's now, I think it's a mood or a feeling or maybe it's wishful thinking on the part of some programmers that, geez, there's got to be somebody out there who wants to have something that's a little bit different and a little more broad, a little more eclectic is a word I've used a couple of times.
You know, and then I get to the point where I think, well, maybe everything already has been done.
Well, that's true.
And, you know, there's only so much that you can possibly do, and that it's all been done. And if you're the first one in that market doing that and you're successful at it, well, then, you know, you've got a good foothold and you're doing okay. But, I mean, you know, when you hear a consultant come in and he says, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that, we're going to go after this, we're going to go after this audience, we're going to go after that audience. I really don't, you know, I just don't understand. But it was great listening to you guys talk about radio, and I wish you a lot of luck.
Okay, thanks very much. We appreciate that. Yeah. You know, I think that comes down to, I've heard this comparison before, that there are several restaurants serving basically the same thing, but it's the way that they serve it to you that makes the difference, and I think that's the case with that radio stations too.
That is very true. And when you talk about, when you broach the subject of consultants, they've been very successful in turning the radio stations of America into very, very similar sounding organisms.
Yeah.
You've got basically for much of the country now, you've got the Burger King system of radio stations. I mean, you can go from Reno to Sacramento, and the same things that you hear on a rock radio station in Reno, the same features, they're right there in Sacramento because the consultants spread it nationwide. Yeah. And on one hand, that's very consistent and very safe. And on the other hand, it just seems to lose some of its sparkle.
Got to take a break here, Bruce, but we'll continue. All right, can you hang on for another 10 minutes?
Sure, yeah. Geez, we'll almost make it a clean hour here.
Yeah, we didn't plan to do this much, but a lot of people want to call in. Bruce Van Dyke is with me. We'll be right back.
Join the Reno...
Paid for by the committee to elect Diana Glom for state senate.
Okay, we'll get back to more political announcements in just a little bit.
Sounds like there's an election coming up, Lou. Is that the deal?
See, when you work in music, you don't keep up with these things, huh?
Wow.
Let's take another call on our 800 line. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi, Bruce. Welcome back.
Hi, how you doing?
Real well, real well. Glad to hear that you're back in the area.
Thanks very much.
Do you remember KZAF out of Sacramento?
Sure.
Because when they first started up, they seemed to do nothing but play just good music, old, new, indifferent. It didn't matter.
Now, are you talking back in the early 70s?
Early 70s, yeah.
Sure.
Because they always impressed me, and that sounds more or less like what you have in mind as far as, without your ego getting in the way, what you really plan on doing is just playing good music.
Pretty much that's the case. And you're right in perceiving that it is sort of a throwback to FM rock radio of, say, 20 years ago, when things weren't so repetitive, restrictive, and I think the current rock radio scene has just gotten a little stagnant and stale.
Well, you know, what's really funny is that there's one caller who called up and said that he normally didn't listen to the station, but I think there's a lot of us out here who are getting really tired of getting the repetitive thing and the stagnant thing and really want to inform ourselves, whether it's musically or intellectually, so we cross over between, let's say, talk radio and to good music.
Where is out here? Where are you calling from?
From Fernley.
Oh, okay.
Right. I know a lot of people. In fact, a lot of the folks in my target audience, which I would call 30 to 45, which is not to neglect the young folk, and especially the university crowd.
Right.
But we're really going to try to, what I think my station's going to be really attractive to 30 to 45-year-olds who are a little fed up with the repetitive nature of the rock and roll radio and the hard rock radio as well.
Exactly.
So we're going to do that and go for them. And I think that there are a lot of folks who are doing exactly what you're talking about. They get so fed up with being bored by the radio that sooner or later they finally say, well, for crying out loud, at least there's somebody talking about something, talking to somebody. It might even be interesting on the talk radio stations. I know I find myself doing that a lot. While I was in Denver, they had a great sports talk radio station, which I found infinitely more listenable than to listen to the station I was working for, which just bombarded me with an endless dose of Cream and Boston songs.
Uh-huh.
All right, so I don't. How's your radio reception out in Fernley? Do you get most all the signals?
Yeah.
Do you? Okay. Yeah,
Well, I've hooked up through cable, so that helps the normal too.
okay. Great. Well, I hope you give us a try, and that you're happy with what because you're the type of guy I'm shooting at.
Well, if it has anything to do with how you used to do your old early morning talk or your early morning rock show at KOZZ, I'll be more than a pleasure.
I'm encouraged to hear that. Thanks for the call.
Great. Thanks very much for the call, sir. Again, we're talking about what's happening tomorrow on our sister station, 101.7 on the FM dial, KSXY.
The station with the call letters that, geez, we're trying to change real fast. I don't, you look back and I think it was 85 or 86 that maybe it seemed like a good idea at the time.
I remember they went on the air, I think it was August 16th, I want to say, 86.
To come on as
KSXY, and we had some ads on the milk cartons at that time for both KOH and KSXY. We had people calling up saying, I don't want to look at this on my breakfast table when I'm eating my Wheaties.
This is not a sexy milk cart.
Let's take another call for Bruce Van Dyke. Good afternoon. You're on KOH. Hi. Hello there.
Well, listen, I'm not going to give you a list of wants. I'll give you a list of don't wants.
Oh, are you talking about radio stations?
Radio, Bruce, baby.
Okay.
Long version, Stairway to Heaven's out.
It is out.
Freebird is out.
Yeah, that's out too.
Guns N' Roses, as much as possible, out.
Right.
Anything hard is out. Anything new can be in.
Gee, you might like my new station.
Well, I better.
Okay.
I think I will. I get more frustrated when I listen to the other rock and roll stations of the things I can't stand.
Right.
It's not things I can tolerate. It's things I just can't stand. Stairway to Heaven. Come on, guys, get out of the time warp. They're still playing it.
Yeah, and it's funny, every year during the Memorial Day countdown of the top 500 rock songs of all time, you already know what numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are going to be. It's going to be Roundabout and Layla and Won't Get Fooled Again and Freebird and Stairway to Heaven.
Oh,
and
man.
that's just like a list that's etched in stone, and that's fine. Like I say, there's no reason for us to do that because it's been done and is being done. So we won't be doing that.
Let me ask the caller, what would you like to hear on talk radio?
On talk radio?
Yeah.
Oh, just 24 hours Lou Gutenberger. Yeah, that would be it.
Okay, that's what I was waiting for.
Did he hit the jackpot there?
Yes, he did. Thanks for the call. Well, we have just a couple of minutes left, and this has been fun. We're talking shop a little bit, but
Little radio shop talk.
It's always good to sample the listener's response to this.
Yeah, I just want our guys, our tunesmiths, to be on the air and to do a good professional job, to be knowledgeable about the music that they're doing, and, keep the silly business down to a minimum, okay?
Okay, thanks for the call. We're just about at the end of the time.
Wow.
It's always antagonizing to somebody who's really into a song to hear the guy come on at the end and mispronounce either the name of the song or the artist.
Very true.
You figure he's really into this stuff.
Very true, which is one thing I've really got to make sure that doesn't happen on my station, because that will get me very right. I'm not used to being the boss, so this is going to be a whole new deal for me. I'm used to being the troublemaker guy who's doing the morning show.
Okay. Well, Bruce, we're out of time. We'll be listening at 6 o'clock tomorrow on the FM dial, right?
Lou, I appreciate the chance to be on here today, and I'll see you soon.
Okay. Bruce Van Dyke, thanks very much. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I'll be talking with Bob Rust. He's chairman of the William F. Harrah Foundation. Stay tuned now for news from CBS and then Bruce Williams.
Just like all of the rest, leave it
somewhere. Guy has a sex life you can't believe. David Wilcox, Leave It Like It Is, from his one disc that we have, the Eye of the Hurricane CD. You're on the X 101.7. It's KTHX. Bruce Van Dyke here, splattering the platters that matter at 8:30. It's what, at 8:30? John Prine did That's the Way the World Goes Around. That's from John's Bruised Orange platter. Tracy Chapman did Material World. Curtis Mayfield, Little Child Running Wild, Superfly soundtrack. Hey, we've got the news coming up here. Check out what's going on. And news brought to us by our pals at Commercial Hardware.
When you've got a job to do, however large or small, Commercial Hardware, you know we've got it all. The tools you need to do it right, friendly help and good advice. Commercial Hardware will help you do it right.
Commercial hardware clearance days are here. You know the old saying, out with the old and in with the new. Well, we've got all kinds of great stuff. Some may be considered collector's items, such as the 20-inch cast iron skillet. Hey, this monster was the kind they used to use out on the Old West Trail. Items range from 20 to 70% off. Now, that's incredible. We've also got mismatched paint, tire chains, bathroom fans, light fixtures, kerosene lamps, lawn and garden goodies, rugs, cookware, and gloves, just to name a few. So hurry down. Commercial Hardware's clearance days are here. 4th and Valley in downtown Reno.
Commercial Hardware will help you do it right. Commercial Hardware will help you do it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the guy who gets to introduce the noise for the newsroom. I am Fleetwood Matus. All right, bongo player, if you will. 8:32, let's check it out. Rough financial waters ahead for the parent company of wine stocks. Carter Hawley Hale Stores Inc. filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection yesterday. Rupsy. They're talking Rupsy. They took a Rupsy. Carter Hawley Hale, the biggest department store operator in the West, 88 stores in 6 states. 88, including 12 wine stocks, along with the Emporium down in the Bay Area, the Broadway down in SoCal, the Broadway Southwest in Sonev. Company brass say at this time, all stores will remain open. All employees will keep their jobs. They're not folding up. They're not locking. They're not padlocking anything. This Chapter 11 action allows the company to quit paying interest on its huge junk bond debt incurred 3 years ago as CHH fought off a hostile takeover. So a lot of times people say, Chapter 11, goodbye. They're up, belly up. But many times it's just sort of a holding mode to get people off their back while they pull themselves together. And that's what they say they're doing right now. So there should be no major panic. If you know wine stocks people today, they should be concerned, but they got a job. After yesterday's meeting with Senors Cheney and Powell, President Bush was vague about when any kind of major ground war might begin. Hey, this is a weird war. It's a weird war. Can you ever remember a war where all we do is just pound the poo out of the guy, and nothing really much happens? I mean, a couple of Scuds were fired last night. A couple of Scuds hit Israel, a few injuries, no deaths. As a result of those Scuds being fired, the Iraqis exposed their mobile launchers out there in western Iraq, and they lost 4 of them, say our flyboy jockeys. Weird war. So, Bush is saying, look, we're content to just pound these guys for a while and see if, in 3 or 4 weeks, see if their backbone don't break. A story in today's paper about the financial problems of Harrah's Automobile Museum. If the museum doesn't get aid from the city, like $9 million in bonds, it could go dark. It's been struggling for a long time. But so that's the story. But the amazing thing about the story in the paper is the photo of Bill Harrah standing next to a 1911 Maxwell. Grab your Nevada section, okay? Got it right here. Take a look at it. Now, look closely. There's Bill. Got a big smile on his face. God bless him. Check out his jacket and tie. Check out that combo. I mean, if Ray Charles was a used car salesman, he would burn that jacket tie combo, okay? Harrah's smile kind of says, hey, if you had as much money as that, you could wear these clothes too. And not give a dang. About it's sunny again today. Variable high clouds for everybody, but sunny and again very, very mild. Reno Sparks, 61. Quincy Truckee, 57s. Got to blast off here. It's 8:35, blasting with the blasters on the Jubilee train. This is 101.7 KTHX. It's a pretty good new band here, the Judy Bats. Named after the weapon Punch used to use on Judy. Seriously, what can you say? People find inspiration in oddball compartments of their brains these days. Judy Bats right there, a song called Waiting for the Rain. Indeed. 8:45, you're on the X, 101.7 KTHX.